There's something weird brewing in Edmonton, and the chatter behind the scenes is getting louder by the day. Word is, management might be on the verge of making a move that'll catch everyone off guard. And yeah, it's the kind of news that gets the whole fan base buzzing. So buckle up, because this might just take over the whole city. If you live and breathe Oilers hockey, hit that subscribe button now and help us push past 1,000 subscribers. Let's show him what real passion looks like out here. Today, we've got to have a straight-up chat about what's been swirling around the league, and of course, it's got a direct impact on our Edmonton Oilers. So lean in, because what's happening in the background could change the direction of our next season entirely. Before we dive into the big stuff, here's a quick look at what's heating up elsewhere. Mitch Marner's reportedly open to a short-term deal, just 2 years, and the reason might surprise you. Meanwhile, in Buffalo, things with Alex Touch seem chill, but there's still no extension in place. These kinds of moves show how players and front offices are playing things smart, or just flat out cautious, as they head into a critical decision-making window. And with the cap going up, shorter contracts are starting to look like the smarter play to leave more wiggle room down the road. But alright, back to Edmonton, There's one name that keeps coming up in oil country, Evan Bouchard. The Oilers brass is trying to figure out how to lock him in. And one option that's picking up steam is a 1-year deal. Yup, you heard that right. According to Chris Johnston from The Athletic, the talk is real. A single-season contract, pushing the bigger deal to 2026. It could happen through arbitration or just a handshake agreement. And here's why they're treading carefully. Connor McDavid, starting July 1st, he's eligible to negotiate a new extension. And with the salary cap already squeezed, the Oilers have to be cold-blooded with every dollar. Even when we're talking about a guy like Bouchard, who straight up balled out during the playoffs. So what do you think? Should the Oilers lock up Bouchard long-term right now, or hold off and go Elin on McDavid first? This choice could shape the future of our blue line and maybe even our next cup run. And what if I told you the next decision on the table might be even more controversial? There's movement behind closed doors that could turn the locker room upside down and split the fan base right down the middle. Hang tight, because this next part could shake even the die-hards. After that brutal Stanley Cup final, the question hanging in the air is this: what's still missing for us to finally hoist that trophy? And the answer might lie in the most fragile position on the roster. You saw the hustle, the fire on every shift, but you also saw that we just didn't have the kind of goaltending you need when everything's on the line. Skinner and Bouchard gave it their all, no doubt, but the cracks were there. Now that the offseason's in full swing, Edmonton's front office has a massive challenge ahead. Free agency. Not much help there. Solid options are slim. And with a bare draft cupboard, the pickings are even thinner. So what's the move? A surgical trade for a legit no. One goalie. That's where the behind-the-scenes chess match really starts. And today, I've got 5 names that could be the fix for our crease. First up, John Gibson from Anaheim. He's been linked to Edmonton before, and reportedly, he'd waive his no-trade clause to come here. His 2024 numbers looked solid, but his injury history and steep salary make him a bit of a gamble. Another interesting target, Joey Dackert from Seattle. Steady, sharp analytics, and in form. He's earned his stripes, no question, but pulling him out of Kraken territory might cost us. Thatcher. Dimkos also in the mix, a total beast when he's healthy. But man, that win is a big one. The injuries are adding up, and you have to wonder if he's worth the risk. Then, there's Jordan Binnington. The Blues vet has bounced back strong, catching attention with some clutch performances. And Jeremy Swayman from the Bruins. Yeah, he had a quieter season, but he's still one of the most promising young tendies in the league. So I'm throwing it to you. Oilers Nation, which of these goalies do you think could be the one to lead us to the promised land? Or is there a dark horse out there nobody's talking about yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with your Oilers crew. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single twist in this wild off-season. And trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The next headline could hit fans right in the feels and spark a huge debate. If you're into behind-the-scenes heat, stick around, because it's only getting spicier from here. We need to talk seriously about what went down in the Stanley Cup final. That dream of finally seeing the Oilers raise the cup, it turned into a full-on nightmare. And no, it wasn't just a blowout score. There's something deeper going on in Edmonton. If you've been paying close attention, you've felt the shift in the air, and it's pointing toward a familiar name, a player who once symbolized our grit, our fire. But in the finals, everything unraveled. What was supposed to be a redemption arc ended in frustration. Late in Game 6 against the Panthers, when the game was already slipping away, the tension boiled over. A little scuffle with Matthew Tkachuk ended with Evander Kane getting tossed for misconduct. He walked off with his head down, didn't even show up for the post-series handshake. That might have been the last time we see Kane in an Oilers jersey. It stings. He had just 1 point the whole final. And worse, he racked up a wild 32 penalty minutes. That's brutal for a guy who's supposed to be a playoff difference maker. Worst timing ever to let the temper take over. And the contrast was hard to miss. Kane's heading down the tunnel, while Tkachuk's celebrating with the cup. A flip from their clash back in 2022, and this time, Florida got the last laugh. The worst part, Kane didn't come into the final cold. He was solid earlier in the playoffs. Coming off a brutal rehab, double hip surgery, hernia, knee issues, he still fought, scored big goals, and helped flip the series against LA. But once we hit the big stage, he vanished. Now his future's up in the air. He's still got a year left on his deal, carrying a cap hit north of $5 million. But at 34, with all that mileage, is it time to move on? Or does he have one more fight left in him? What do you think, Oilers fans? Has Kane's chapter in Edmonton come to a close? Or does he deserve one last shot? Drop your take in the comments. Fire this video off to your Oilers buddies. And hit that subscribe button so you're locked in for every big update this offseason. The next chapter starts now, and the clock's already ticking.